voice every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
In today's complex mortgage world, finding the right direction can be challenging. That's where Lighthouse Advisors comes in. With over 25 years of experience, we provide fractional leadership and executive oversight, guiding companies through transitions, growth, and innovation. From IMBs to brokers to credit unions to tech firms, our team of seasoned professionals is here to shine a light on solutions, ensuring your business thrives in every environment. At Lighthouse Advisors, we don't just guide, we empower. Together, let's create a ripple of success across the industry. Email us today at laura@lighthouseadvisors.com. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the amazing Randy Flowers. He is the President of Operations at RSDS Appraisal Diversity. Randy, thank you so much for joining us today. And on Wednesday Wisdom, we have learned that each of us, we pick up these little nuggets of inspiration and knowledge, whether it's from reading, whether it's from learning from a mentor, maybe it's lessons we learned in our childhood. And each one of these lessons is valuable to all of us. So Randy, to kick us off, we would love to hear what's a piece of wisdom that you have learned from someone else that you apply to your life.
Well, Laura, thank you for having me, and it's an honor to be here. The blessed part about life is the opportunity to have many positive mentors who really guide you and improve you each day. And one piece of advice I continue to challenge myself in is staying focused on the idea that life is a journey, and to love the journey and not get lost in the thought of arrival or some pseudo destination, and that journey will have highs and lows, and just not getting stuck in one or the other, but trying to find moderation and normalcy through it all. And I love that the journey and the opportunity to be challenged daily to improve and really just become the best version of ourselves. And I challenge myself not to just think about achieving some artificial light at the end of the tunnel, but really trying to think, what is success, and what does that really mean? Because if you're thinking about some destination, well, that could mean the end of life, and we don't need to get caught in that and the lost in the arrival, but embrace the moment of now and soak up today, and really, are you living today and making the best of your choices today? And if you do, then hopefully at the end of the day, we're making the world a better place.
Well, obviously, I agree with all of that you just said. But, at your stage in life, a lot of times people haven't learned that yet. I can tell you that as life goes on, you certainly learn to appreciate the journey more, right? Because I think, and so it's actually funny. I'll share a story that, I love speaking to Uber drivers when I'm traveling. And I just came back from traveling, and I'm having a conversation with one of those Uber drivers, and the guy is telling me that he's turning 39 years old the next week. And I said to him, 39's a great age. I said, I got to be honest, your 40s are a great time in life, because in your 20s, you're trying to plan your whole life out. And in your 30s, you're trying to put all the pieces together to line up of being on that path. But usually by your 40s, you kind of have figured it out. You figured what path you're on, and you're really going deep into that path. So I'm curious, Randy, like what is it, or where did you get that from, that you learned not to get so caught up on always this chase, right? Like this chase and this chase to always get to this destination. I'm curious where you've really learned that.
Yeah, I think, through the moments of always being on the chase. And are you trying to take advantage of everything? And are you trying to do it all? And if you are you really leaving an impact? Are you just really touching everything and just putting your fingerprints on it? Or are you really leaving an impact with what you do? And my goal at the end of the day is to leave a genuine impact, not just on my life, but the people that are around me, and give back to the people that are around me, as my mentors have, as people like you have added to my life, and really challenge myself to be intentional in the moment, understand that there's opportunities in every moment of our life. And it's just like I'm in the Uber, I could be in the Uber and I could be quiet and I could not talk. Or I have the opportunity here to have an engagement with this person and learn about this person and try to find a connection with this person. And before you know it, by the end of your Uber ride, you're like, oh my gosh, we just had an effect on someone, on each other's lives. And what you'd find when you do that is it becomes self-rewarding. You start to experience more and more opportunities that you would never been presented with. And that's just from the challenge of being in the moment, being in the now. And I'm just trying to take more time to understand, am I living that?
Well, what a great message. And that truly is wisdom to be shared. And you're right. Like I'm at the stage in my life, of course, that I am extremely present and intentional and aware because you realize that chase gets tired after a while, that chase and chase and chase and chase, right? And we all have a choice. We have a choice every single day, and be intentional, like you said. It really is something that you have to make that decision. It's not just something that's going to come natural. It's going to come natural, honestly, to chase. Like that is natural because why? We see social media, we see, the comparisons and every angle. That's the chase. But actually sitting here and going, I love my life. I love what I get to do. I love the impact that I'm making. Wow, that person is blessed. And that is success. To your point, when you were saying, what is success? Being truly fulfilled, that is success. So I love that. All right, next question. So I feel that, leadership is one of the most important things that we can provide in the world. I think there's a real lack of leadership in the entire world at this moment, and so many people are searching for that person that is kind of guiding them, right? And I always say this is not a title, this is not an experience level. Leadership, it could be a child that is the leader within that group, right? So I always love to hear, Randy, if you could share your insights on what do you think one of the most important traits of a leader is and why?
Yeah, I've continued to reflect on this a lot, and it kind of goes back to our previous discussion, but focus. When you are a leader, you have so much on your plate to balance personally and professionally. You have people cheering for you. Unfortunately, you will have people cheering against you, and you have to stay focused through all of that. You have to think about what are your rocks? What are your primary rocks? And then what is your number one rock? And are you making your number one rock your top priority? And then do you know your following rocks on how they fall in there? If you say, my family is my top rock, that is the thing I value the most, but you're prioritizing every other aspect of your life before your family, is that your top rock? And you have to challenge yourself, to continue going through that. And there's an old saying that, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And really what I think that means is you got to stay patient and continue to prioritize and have that focus on each one of those and understand what is my values? What are the things? What are my goals? What am I trying to accomplish? And do I have those understood? Do I have them written down? Am I reflecting on those? And am I applying them? Because there are moments in our life we get caught up and we keep going and they will fall out of order. But that doesn't mean we can't realign them and say, hey, no, this is my top rock. I got to make a phone call. I got to check in on my family. I got to make them a priority and getting it back to that number one. And so I think as I continue to grow, I continue to bring people around me, being a part of other people's lives. I have to make sure I'm staying focused on the things that I am saying are the priority in my life.
Again, great wisdom. I can literally hear many, many people saying, I know what I need to do, but it just seems like the day gets away from me, the month gets away from me, the year gets away from me, the whatever gets away from me. And I go in with the best intention, and I just can't seem to focus in on that. So what's your recommendation for them, Randy?
Yeah, this last weekend was the Berkshire annual meeting, and I don't know if
Yeah,
you watched
yeah.
it. It's over 4 hours long. And I didn't watch the first I watched the first 2 hours. I haven't watched the full 4 hours yet, but I've watched the first 2 hours twice actually, because there's so many nuggets that are inside there that you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so profound. But Warren said, work at something you enjoy and surround yourself with people you admire. And my ultimate goal is to become a selfless leader who inspires and supports a team to help them achieve their full potential each day. And whether that involves appraisals, education, life, personal journey, I strive to listen to those around me and understand their needs and help them improve. And I take, personal responsibility for positively impacting those that are around me and trying to add to their life and make their life a better person. And so, as I focus on things, this is really what's in my mind right now.
I love that. And yes, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did hear that part exactly what he quoted, and so profound, right? I mean, so profound. And I love that advice. Okay. So my last question, and my most favorite that I love to hear, because Randy, I just believe that once you put something out there, once you say it out loud, you have started the wheels in motion that something's going to happen. So I like to end this always where if I took out my magic wand and you were able to have that moonshot with having no fear, no limitation, what would be your thing that you would want to do in your life, whether it's professionally or personally?
Yeah, it's most definitely personally, and I think it's to leave my family in a better place generationally, than I found it. I've been blessed for the life that I have. I'm born here in the United States. I've got a lot of opportunities that many people in the world don't have. But I want to provide the financial resources for my family to be successful. I want to be known as someone that loves my family unconditionally and who listens to them and cares for them. And that, I make their life better through my actions and not just my words. And so, I think the ultimate goal would be to have some personal foundation, where money is put into, and that money can be given to my family, extended friends, things like that, that provide them educational resources to further their life and to be on a journey of success. The financial assistance to accomplish that, no matter if it's education, but my family does have medical issues, and being type 2 diabetic or type 1 diabetic, and how to deal with those medical expenses and how that may hold their life back from being successful, and helping position them to not be worried about the medical aspects of their life and instead focus on how they're growing their life professionally and personally. And most importantly, I want to be a mentor to my family and the people that are around me, and get them exposure to the people that are in my network, and how can my people make them more successful, and just genuinely leave the world a better place than I found it. I think it's a great place that we live, and we have tons and tons of opportunity, but I think we have an opportunity to get better each day, and
We
and that's
do.
my goal at the end, is to be proud of everything that's occurred.
I love that. Well, you are well on your way, and I love that. And it doesn't even give me a second thought of knowing that that's going to happen. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with all of us. I think that's absolutely incredible. Randy, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your insights with all of us. And we wish you all the best always.
Thank you, Laura.